NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Well, welcome back. This is episode 431 of the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And SGR.
Okay.
As John Bon Jovi once said, whoa, we're halfway there. The New York Yankees are up 2-0 in the American League Championship Series. We're live here on NYY Underground on an off day in between games 2 and 3. And fellas, we've been waiting 15 years for this moment, and we're heading to Cleveland. We're just 2 wins away from getting back to the World Series.
You can taste it, my friend. You can taste it.
Okay, offensive. Okay, offensive.
Okay.
Only a presidential candidate can do that.
Okay.
Man, did you guys see that play in the Mets game?
No, I'm not watching
nice play. Nice dive and stop. They scored another run, 2-0 Dodgers, but really nice play. That was a base clear, if not.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on this Met-Dodger game as we're live here on NYYU. It's been a while since we haven't been on live at all during the postseason. It's just been crazy hectic with everything going on. But if you're like, oh, where you guys been? Well, we've been around. You know, if you don't know already, we are the official Yankees podcast of Varsity. We've been pumping out episodes left and right on every off day pretty much throughout the course of the postseason. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're in the chat tonight, please like this video and subscribe to NYY Underground. Hopefully my voice holds up. It cracked during the intro. I have no idea what the hell has been going on. As I said in one of our previous episodes during the postseason, it has not been right since game 3 of the ALDS, but we're just going to power through this here as the Yankees, as I said earlier, as everybody knows, are up 2-0 in the American League Championship Series. Again, just like against Kansas City, it hasn't been pretty, but they're getting the job done. And last night, you know, the big swing came off the bat of Aaron Judge finally. The ace, Garrett Cole, coughing child over there. Garrett Cole, he even said it himself, bend don't break. Not a great performance by Garrett Cole in any means last night. You know, you're handed a 3-0 lead. You got to get through you got to at least get me through the 5th inning there. But as we said, you know, previewing this series, Cleveland is a pain in the ass. They made Garrett Cole work, and they got him out of there. But, you know, credit to, and I've been starting a lot of these shows off the same way, Clay Holmes has been as important of a Yankee as anybody through the first 6 games of this postseason. He's appeared in all 6 games, hasn't allowed a run, gotten the Yankees through some big jams as he did last night as well. I mean, you got to give, just to start there, you got to give Clay Holmes a lot of credit, man. Nobody killed him more than we killed him on this show, but always held that in the back of our minds here. So they did get this guy out of the closing role, put him in different parts of the game here, and he can be an effective weapon. And man, you know, they were talking about this on the broadcast last night. He's your fire extinguisher. He's the guy that Boone's bringing in there to put out the fires. And man, he's done a hell of a job for the Yankees. Where would the Yankees be in this postseason without Clay Holmes?
No, and I was thinking about that with Clay Holmes, because more so than I honestly, I might want to say every other player on the Yankees. Is there a guy other than Clay Holmes that if they played to the back of their baseball card makes more of a difference for this team than Clay Holmes? And I'm even including guys like Soto and Judge, because when those guys were playing at their peaks, both of those guys had MVP caliber stretches. Judge was for 6 months or 5 months. Even then, they were still finding ways to win when they did drop off. It's when Clay Holmes is at his best, when he's at his peak, this team is on another level.
That's a great point. And I'll just say this. When it comes to just the bullpen in general this postseason, and it all starts with Clay Holmes, the Mets are on a magical run. It's the type of run that you want your team to be on when you're making some type of a Cinderella story type run, right? But sometimes in the postseason, you would take the magic over talent. And that's kind of what's happening with the Mets right now. And it typically happens with the offense, right? The Yankees have that same magic, but it's stemming from a place that we haven't felt maybe since Mo, and that's in the bullpen. This bullpen has brought some type of magic to October right now, and it all starts with Clay Holmes. This is a guy who I believe was arguing shouldn't even be on the postseason roster.
You argued that.
Yes, at one point. You talked me off the ledge. You said...
Just you, okay.
Yeah, just
Right.
you.
Not the fellas, just one fella. Okay.
You said he's better than Mark Leiter, whatever you said, and I said, yeah, you're right. But how many times do we have to say it? I'm so happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like that, man. I will sit here and eat crow all day long. This guy.
Maybe you were wrong about that in a sense, but you weren't wrong about Clay Holmes not being a closer.
No, and he was just pure awful.
Nobody was wrong about Clay Holmes.
No, so I don't think we were like completely shitting on him without a valid reason.
But if I sat here and told you that I thought he would be pitching in big innings and pitching effectively in big innings in the postseason, I'd be lying to you, and I'm not going to sit here.
I mean, now look at it when they show him in the bullpen, you're kind of like, all right, Clay's getting ready. Just
literally
crazy
at
how
a
fast
point
that
now.
switched.
I'm at a point now where I see him warming up, and I'm like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, and good for him. And Scott Wright made a great point in the chat of just like good for him of how he handled this demotion, and he didn't make it about himself. He made it about the team. He admitted that he wasn't the greatest closer in the world. He likes his position right now where he's at. That takes a lot to be able to do that and just turn the page and move on from a demotion like that.
This bullpen is. There's still 6 wins. The Yankees are 6 wins away from where they need to go, but they're 2 wins away from the World Series. And the reason for that is this bullpen has allowed 2 earned runs, if that.
It was
.77 ERA according to
Scott Weaver got Nick last night. I think
and Tim Hill.
Tim Hill got charged for an earned run in game 1, right?
Yes.
So I mean and then yesterday Tim Hill comes back. He gives the Yankees just a tremendous performance. He gets the game ball from game 2 from me, man, because he really settled it down after the Yankees didn't want to extend Holmes last night. They used him to get through the 5th, and then they really used Tim Hill to kind of bridge to Tommy Kahnle, who I know he's been good this postseason, but you want to talk about this is how things have shifted. Where just a mere sight of Clay Holmes induced a panic attack in you. Now the mere sight of Tommy Kahnle induces a panic attack in me.
Yeah, but he's still been really good.
I've liked what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he's a little sketchy, and I hope it doesn't.
He always will be. He's Tommy fucking Red Bull.
And I hope it doesn't catch up to him, but he's been really good in his role. The Yankees have just identified the 4 guys that they want to use in this run right now, and that's Tim Hill, Tommy Kahnle, Clay Holmes, and the ferocious jungle cat, Luke Weaver. I think we saw Hamilton and Cousins once in the division series, and that's been it. They haven't. I mean, Tim Mays is out there collecting dust, and rightfully so. And Marcus Stroman's probably going to do the same thing. And God willing, the Yankees do wrap this up, get these next 2 wins. It does sound like Nestor will be back, so you probably shelf Stroman again in that type of situation. But we still got to get these next 2 wins. Again, it's not going to be easy going to Cleveland. Stephen Vogt did a hell of a job managing that game last night.
He really did.
He's doing a good job.
He saw his ace was on the ropes, pulled him in the 2nd inning, walked Juan Soto, minimized the damage there because Judge only got a sac fly in that situation. And then he went for it early, man. It was David Fry, right?
Yes.
That's his big gun off the bench, and he went for it early. It didn't work. Cole got him out, but he
struck him out looking, didn't he?
I think he popped him up, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he? I thought he struck him out.
It wasn't a strikeout.
Oh. Yeah, I guess
Yeah, it
you're
was
right.
it was a
Yeah,
pop.
you're
It was
right.
a pop.
You're right.
Popped out for
Pop
Naylor.
to center field, no? I believe.
I'll find
Well,
that out for
definitely
you.
wasn't deep enough to
I'll
get it.
give you the exact location.
I think it was the Jazz, right?
Yeah.
It was a pop out to third baseman, Jazz Chisholm Jr. in foul territory. Two outs. And next to the plate, Brian Rocchio.
So I don't know, like I'll let you run the show. I want to say something when it comes to kind of how the night unfolded last night and the feeling that shifted going to Cleveland now.
Yeah, so I just want to continue. I have a visitor in the room tonight who knows what she's up to, but she's
Okay.
behaving herself right now.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
She needed a tissue. I had to divert my attention
Okay.
for a moment.
She had an issue. The issue was that she needed a tissue.
Okay,
Okay.
there you go. So that he really did manage yesterday like game 7, and it kind of needed to be for Cleveland. And you got to give him a lot of credit for that. A lot of managers, don't want to knock Boone, but we've seen him sit back on his hands and wait for things to happen instead of making things happen in postseasons in the past. So, got to give Bo a lot of credit there. I would like to know who the Cleveland Guardians dietitian is and why they're not working with Josh Naylor. Okay?
Dude, he's big.
Yeah, he got big.
That's embarrassing.
Is
Okay.
he pregnant? Does he have a baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's rocking his own baby.
I mean, not for nothing, man. I know I'm not a professional athlete here, but if I can lose 30 pounds, this guy can lose 30 pounds. Okay. You're a professional athlete. Have a little bit more pride, pal. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's
also a jerk off, so
he is. I don't know what, But yeah, this bullpen, the Yankees have definitely identified what they want to do right now. And it's Clay Holmes, find a lane for Tim Hill, Tommy, and then the Jungle Cat. That's what they want to do with this bullpen, and it's working. And I don't know, they're probably going to need Ian Hamilton at some point, I would think, but maybe they don't. It depends. And I want to talk before we kind of break down game 2. Tomorrow is a must-win for the Yankees. And you're going to say, "Oh, they're up 2-0." Yeah, it's a must-win for the Yankees because they have Clark Schmidt on the mound with a chance to put their foot on Cleveland's necks. Because if you look at the way these series tend to go, you give a team a little bit of momentum, and it's not like Rodon or Cole is on the mound in game 4. It's Luis Gil. We haven't seen Luis Gil pitch in 3 weeks, and he was terrible the last time we saw him pitch. So I don't want to breathe any life into the Cleveland Guardians here because I still have a lot of respect for them, and I still think that they can make this a series.
Well, they're the second best team in the American League, so yeah, I mean that's true. You don't want to let them breathe. They're a very good baseball team.
But let's say they, if they don't win tomorrow, but but Cleveland has to go to their bullpen that same time they did yesterday, then it's not a must win because now Cleveland's really at a deficit because they have to continue to use every single page in their playbook. And that's going to really hurt them in the next 2. So really what I think is a must is that they need to get to that bullpen early if they were to lose the game tomorrow. But to say it's a must win for the Yankees, I don't know. I think it's absolutely a must win for Cleveland.
A must win to not let it get dicey here. Because you lose tomorrow,
playoffs
it can get
dicey sometimes. It still doesn't mean that it's over, that they're gonna let Cleveland come back into it. Yeah, having Heel in game 4, it's a big question mark. But the way Cleveland has had to piece things together in this series so far and to come out down 0-2, they're in a huge deficit right now. And Steve,
and that's why you have to win tomorrow
what you have to do tomorrow is get that starting pitcher out of the game early. But if you go to their bullpen after
there's no moral
inning,
and if they lose, there's no moral victories in that because
the moral victory to me though is that they're playing 3 straight games here. They're not going to have those days off in between, so the Cleveland bullpen's going to be completely depleted at that
realistically, point. The Yankees are they're heading to Cleveland up 2-0 in this series. The next game played at Yankee Stadium should be a World Series game.
Yeah, of course you want that.
Shouldn't
Who's starting for the for Cleveland tomorrow?
Boyd.
Yeah, Matthew Boyd.
So for me, I think Clark Schmidt's game plan needs to stay the same, and he needs to stay the course here. Last time was a little different. His main objective was to stabilize the rotation, coming off 2 kind of disappointing starts. Kind of the same goal here. Just stay the course. Stay the course. I don't want to jinx it. Never mind. Not going to say it.
Yeah, you be quiet.
Yeah, really, Chris. You got to be careful over there. Chrissy Jinx is
I've been keeping
powerful,
quiet.
but you've been doing a good job.
Lindor's coming up with the bases loaded here.
So
All
let me
right.
just say this. We're talking about Vogt, how he was great. One thing I'll just say real quick. Aaron Boone has been, and I know it's easy to say with your team up 2-0 in the ALCS, he's been phenomenal. I mean, just like you said, Christian, they kind of have the game plan set. He's executing it perfectly right now.
Yeah, because how often have they had a game plan set and then they deviate from it? So he's not deviating from what's working, which is, that's good.
No,
it.
but they we heard a little bit of rumblings earlier today that they might be deviating from the game plan in that Jose Trevino is according to Michael Kay is expected to start game 3. If you're gonna do it, I guess tomorrow is the day to do it with the lefty on the mound. It sucks that Austin Wells has not lived up to the what's the word I'm looking. He hasn't done the job basically, and I would not even not for nothing. I wouldn't take him out of the lineup because you're not losing. You're up
Right.
2-0 in this series, right? This is what we talked about earlier in the season when they moved Glaber out of the leadoff spot. And look at Glaber in the postseason in the leadoff spot. I mean, it's just
Yep. And think
unbelievable.
about defensively too, right? I mean, he's been unbelievable behind the plate in this postseason.
But to bench your starting catcher because he's underperforming is a move that you make out of desperation because you need a spark somewhere, which I think the Yankees do need an offensive spark, but also they don't because they're winning. Well, let's not make this move until we have to. And I don't think that they have to. What they have to do, especially with the lefty in the lineup in game 3, is you move up Giancarlo Stanton. You can back up Judge and Stanton in game 3 with the lefty.
He's too valuable behind the plate. He's just way too. He saved a big run last night, man. Not many catchers in this league block that ball behind the plate, the one that went off his friggin' arm. Not many catchers keep that in front. He's throwing guys out. We've seen. Look, I'm telling you right now, Trevino's behind the plate tomorrow night. The Guardians call a team meeting and
a huge strikeout of Lindor
and change up their game plan. Here's the game plan if Trevino's behind the plate.
Run.
Get on base and run. And
Lean
just
into
run
one.
and run and run. And that can be deadly in the postseason, man.
That could be
It can be.
deflating too.
God, I don't agree with it. I personally,
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I think his sources are off here.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I wouldn't do it. I would move Stanton up and I don't know. I maybe put Rizzo 5. Rizzo's been hot, man. He's had a couple of good,
great.
good games here. I didn't get the whole. He was emotionally worn out at the end of game 1, so they had to bring in Oswaldo Cabrera. That scared me a little bit, but he seemed fine yesterday. Although that was the 6th inning, I don't know what the hell the Yankees were doing in that 6th inning.
Bunch of drunks.
Yeah, bunch of drunks right there. Not for nothing, man. I backed up Jazz with the shit talk. You got to back it up now on when you play on the field. This guy's done absolutely nothing at the plate. He's been up in some really key spots, hasn't done anything. His only home run came as ended up being a garbage time home run in the 9th inning of game 2 against the Kansas City Royals. He had that big double to start. You thought that was going to set up the Yankees to put the game away. Volpe walks, and then I mean, what are we doing? We can't get picked off a second base there. And then Rizzo later on in the inning, he credited him. He comes through with a clutch, huge hit there to get the run home because the Yankees were getting ready to squander another scoring opportunity. Gets the hit, and then he gets picked off the second base because he strays too far on the ball in the dirt. I mean, you got to understand the situation there. It's 2 outs, right? I get another wild pitch. You could possibly score, but there's 2 outs, man. You gotta know that base is 100% guaranteed for you to be able to take it. The Yankees had a real opportunity yesterday to put the game away in the sixth inning, and they had two guys picked off the second base in the same inning. Where I don't think I've seen that happen in a little league game, let alone at Yankee Stadium in the ALCS. So there's things that this team has to clean up going forward, man. Because you know what, even if they pull off these next 2 wins, you're not going to survive in the World Series by playing this sloppy. And they've gotten lucky in 5 of the 6 Yankees postseason games so far. Soto and Gleyber Torres have led off the game by getting on. So the Yankees have started 5 of the 6 games with Soto and Gleyber on base. And this is and Stan's been great, right? No one's denying that. But Wells, Judge, Stanton are batting a combined .000 in the first inning in the postseason.
Oh my God. Wow.
So you hope last night, and Judge was so close all night long. That first inning pop-up that Rocchio dropped, that ball was I don't know why anybody would make this up. I would believe that it to be true that LaGuardia Airport actually picked it up on radar. It was so high in the air. Because it didn't come from
that's true.
It came from Codified Baseball, which they're all like hardcore into stats and shit. So it wouldn't be like an account that you would expect somebody to make
Codify, right?
To make up something like that. So, and when you hit one like that, your timing is right there. You're just under the ball. And kind of the same thing happened on that sac fly. He was kind of just right there. He just a tick off. And then if you go back and you look at that home run, this is how good Aaron Judge is, man. He didn't barrel that. He did not barrel that ball. And he hit it to Monument Park.
Crazy.
We've been waiting for Aaron Judge to show up, and he did, man. And you can say it's one home run. It was the game. That was the game right there.
Not only was it the game. Well, let's peel it back. There's a few things. The first thing is it's 3-0, and your ace is on the mound, and then he starts to unravel. And when he starts to unravel and you give up a couple runs, Holmes stops the bleeding. Everything feels great, but that's a game that now you start to become really nervous, right? Your ace unravels, the momentum's back on Cleveland's side. You're only up 1 game here. The momentum could clearly shift going into Cleveland. Yankees score another run on the Rizzo hit. Should have been 2. But you're still sitting there thinking the Yankees need a big hit. The Yankees need to separate themselves. And Aaron Judge steps up to the plate, and here's the second part of it. He gives them a little breathing room. He finally gets that big hit. But, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here. This is what I felt. The entire dynamic of the Yankees postseason up to that point changed for me. It went from we're getting lucky and scoring runs on mostly luck here, and our bullpen's been great, to, oh shit, maybe we're starting to click on all cylinders at this point. And if that's true, watch the fuck out.
Aaron Judge, though, what he needs to do is he needs to put one of these over the fence in the first inning and just stamp the game early.
Yeah.
Especially
tell me, because doesn't it feel like outside of Giancarlo Stanton's home run the other night, the bomb that he hit in Kansas City, doesn't it feel like every friggin' home run, you just aren't sure, like no one's really sure if it's going, And then
Yeah, Soto's
that-
home run.
is it because they're
It's been very windy, man.
it's been windy? Is it also because they're quieting the crowd noise that like
They're muting the crowd noise, which
Could
doesn't
be.
help.
you can't feel the pop in the stadium like that? But even the announcers seem confused if it's going to go out or not. Like I've
Because
been
of the
having to hold
weather.
my breath
It's
until
been
the
very.
ball lands.
I've been outside in this. It's been very windy, and you know how the wind amps up in these stadiums too.
Yeah,
So.
and it swirls around and shit.
So I was really surprised that Soto's ball got out in game one because of the wind, but he got through it. Soto's been, it's not the sexiest postseason for Juan Soto, but he's just been amazing, man.
Amazing.
Like he hasn't. I don't want. It's really weird, right? Because like we've been watching Juan Soto for an entire year now, and he's been great, right? Like we've talked about this a dozen times. Like he's just been better than we even expected him to be. But like we're watching him in this postseason, and nothing. He hasn't like fully like you don't feel like he's ever fully taken over a game, but like we said, he's been on base 5 out of 6 times to start a game. He's got a home run. He's driven in a few runs here. So he's been consistently in the middle of everything, but it just feels like I guess because everybody's so hyper focused on Stan because Stan has just been the one guy that's just consistently did this in the Boone era. And then everybody's just been so focused on the fact that Judge hasn't done it that you're just kind of losing sight of what Juan Soto is doing in this postseason right now. That he was brought here to protect Aaron Judge in this lineup, which he did beautifully in the regular season. And I know technically protection is the guys that hit behind you, but you had Juan Soto hitting in front of Aaron Judge. Who knows what the type of season Aaron Judge would have had if he didn't have Juan Soto in front of him as much as he did in the regular season.
And another thing too, I believe he has, other than the home run, he had a hit with runners in scoring position. I don't know if it was last night, the night before. I don't know. All these games start to blend together when you're so into every single pitch. But my main point here is last night was
I'm pretty sure he did in game one.
Game one. Last night was the first time where he got up in a massive spot with runners in scoring position, not just a regular spot, a massive spot, and they didn't pitch to him. I mean,
so far in the postseason, he's batting .350 with a 10-12 OPS.
Right, but a lot of the time he's not up in big spots right now. The one time maybe it was more than once, but he gets the run in. He has the home run, which was massive. But last night in that spot where they intentionally walked him, that's probably his biggest moment. He's stepping up to the plate to this point in the postseason, and they don't pitch to him.
Well, it's because, and I tweeted this, there was no fear of Aaron Judge up until that point. And Judge needed a big hit in that spot. And he came through, man. You can't tell me that
A run's a run.
A run's a run in the postseason. There are no unimportant runs in the postseason. And I keep telling people that, and I get it. I tweeted out of frustration. I guess that's better than nothing because you want him so badly to, at the very least, put one in the gap and score 3 runs there. You want it so badly for him that you're disappointed when he only comes away with an RBI, but he's there to score a run any way that he can. A sac fly is getting the job done in that situation because, again, as I'm going to hammer this point home to everybody, there are no unimportant runs in the postseason because you just never know what it might lead to. And I know I called Jazz's garbage time home run earlier, but the Yankees started a little bit of a rally after that. Who knows what, you need every little bit in the postseason. And yeah, the Yankees, that put the Yankees up 6-2. So is it clutch? People are going to say, well, it's not.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely clutch.
Yes.
You have a 4-run lead going into the final 2 innings of a postseason game.
With a bullpen that hasn't given up shit. But here's the failure in that moment. If you want to talk about, of course, a run's a run. Any run is valuable, of course, 100%. He walked away with just a sac fly, and I was still happy about it because I got a run. the failure there was Cleveland was giving up the run anyway. If
It doesn't matter that they were giving up the run, because how many times have we seen the Yankees have easy runs at their hands?
Understood. But my point is, you do that once and you give them their best case scenario. They're going to continue to do it. You wanted him to make them pay immediately, and he didn't, but he certainly did by the end of the game, and they won't even think twice about doing that again.
Continue to give us scoring opportunities like that and let Aaron Judge get a run in those situations. That's fine. You know what? Keep building runs, man. That's all you have to do. And
I said this when Sizemore did it in Chicago, right? Grady Sizemore was the interim manager. When he intentionally walked Soto to get to Judge, I said he was the dumbest human being on the face of the earth. And I think Vo has done a very good job. And it did work out in that moment. But I still can't comprehend in any situation thinking the right move is to intentionally walk the man in front of Aaron Judge.
Well, you know what? And you have to give Vogt a lot of credit, because it was absolutely the right move, based on the context of how the two guys are playing right now. You can say that he's the best case scenario they got. No, best case scenario is based because we've watched the Yankees long enough to know that they can piss that opportunity away.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's an extremely ballsy move because you're really sticking your neck out there.
I mean, Sevy just got out of a bases loaded jam, so it's 2-0 Dodgers going into the bottom of the third, I think.
I mean, if Judge comes up and even just clears the bases, even scores a couple, he's sticking his neck out there to a point where there's no return from that if they lose this series. You know, people are going to rip him to shreds, but he did it. He felt it was best move, and it probably was in the situation. I still can't understand how. I don't care if Judge is 0 for his last 100. I never want to intentionally walk the guy in front of him. Maybe I pitch smart. Maybe I, try to get him to swing at a couple, but just to say no, give me Aaron Judge, that's just crazy to me, and it worked out for them. But like I said, Judge made a statement later on where I don't think Cleveland will be doing that anytime soon.
Look, the Yankees are going to need Aaron Judge to take over a series at some point here. They're the 2 wins away from the World Series. If it doesn't happen here, it's going to happen in the next round. They're not going to be able to hoist that trophy without him taking over. And hopefully, yesterday was a nice first step for him, but he looked good in that final game in Kansas City, and then he had 3 days off and he was a little rusty again. And now, he had he was so close in a couple of different at bats until he did get the home run, and then they're off today.
Yeah.
So you just hope, man, just keep giving this guy opportunities. The Yankees, and so what, and so fucking what, bro? If that's the only home run he comes up with the postseason and they win the World Series, who cares? Really? You're going to sit there and be mad that Aaron Judge didn't come through in a year the Yankees win the World Series? No, because everybody moves, I'm tired of this, man. We're sitting here, we're trying to be happy and optimistic. We have not been to the World Series in 15 years, and we're halfway there. And all anybody wants to do is move the goalpost for the Yankees. I'm telling you right now, bro, the Yankees pull this off, and we get these final 2 wins. You don't get the American League pennant back because you think it was easy for the Yankees. If it was so easy, why did Baltimore and Kansas and Houston lose then? If it was so easy for the Yankees, why'd they lose? They were supposed to be so tough and so bad. They lost before they even got out of the wild card round. But the Yankees had an easy path. Give me a fucking break. There are no easy paths in October. I don't know what it was about game 1, but I had this weird sense of calm about game 1. Every other game the Yankees have played in the postseason, I've been stressed the fuck out watching these baseball games. There's nothing easy about this. And you can tell the Yankees don't think that there's anything easy about this. Maybe these teams don't have the type of offensive firepower to make the Yankees pay for some of these mistakes. Okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that, because outside of, they got Vinny Pasquantino and Bobby Witt and Salvi Perez. It's not a deep lineup though. Just like they got Rocchio and Kwan and Ramirez and Josh Naylor, but it's not a deep lineup. But especially Cleveland, grinds the hell out of these at bats, man. They wore Garrett Cole down to a nub yesterday.
Yep.
And they did the same thing to Tarek Skubal in game 5. That's why they won that game. They wore him out.
It's the best pitcher in
Wore him
baseball
down.
right now.
Wore him down.
Wore him out, man. You are not going to find two better pitchers than Garrett Cole and Tarek Skubal, and they wore both of those guys out. You can't tell me that this is an easy series for the Yankees. Maybe you turn around and they look, the Yankees win this in 5 games, and on paper it looks easy. To a man, I'm going to tell the Yankees will tell you that it wasn't easy. Nothing about this is easy.
And like, sorry, keep going.
No,
Finish your
go.
point. No, I was just going to say, like Chris said earlier, Cleveland was the second best team in baseball in the American League this year. A game behind the Yankees. So, I mean, in terms of this year, Cleveland is the best possible matchup. Now, saying that, if we before the postseason started, if you asked me what teams would you like the Yankees to line up to face, I would have said Kansas City in the first round, and then I would have said Cleveland in the second round. But to say this is an easy path, it's just a lie because Cleveland won 91 or 92 games this year.
I mean, that's what A-Rod pretty much said. He said it's never easy, but this is the path they would have chosen, right? Two things can be true.
It's definitely easier than having to play Houston because Houston has been the thorn in their side.
And it's certainly not a knock on Cleveland or Kansas City. Those are both really good teams respectively. But there's certain teams you just match up better against. And I'm telling you right now, Tarek Skubal would have been such a thorn in the side of the Yankees.
The Tigers would have scared me a lot more than the Guardians do.
And the Guardians are a better team.
Better overall team, but because of Tarek Skubal, they would have scored. They would have scared me a lot more.
So it has nothing to do with that. But look, I don't give a shit, man. You know what I was thinking the other day? I was thinking about the last time the Yankees won the World Series. I know exactly where I was. I know who I was with. I know how I reacted. I know everything about it. I know the lighting in the room. I know where I was standing, how high I jumped, how much I fucking cried, everything. And I couldn't think, and I'm going, why can't I remember them winning a pennant? Why can't I? Because I was fucking there the last time with SGR, the last time they won a pennant in 2009. The last time I'm trying to think, how do I react when the Yankees win a pennant at home? Do I scream? Like, do I usually go crazy? 2003. Aaron Boone hitting that home run was the last time I was sitting in my house watching the Yankees win a pennant. That's 21 years ago. 21 years. I don't give a shit who they play. It's not going to feel any different. If the Yankees win the pennant and win 2 more games, I don't care who their opponent is. It will not change anything.
Yeah, the Yankees still have work to do. No, we're not dismissing the Cleveland Guardians at all, because if the Yankees lose tomorrow, I'm going to start to worry, and bad thoughts are going to creep in. But if they pull this off, you don't let anybody try to take this away from you.
Hell no.
We have not gotten to the World Series in 15 years.
Ooh.
So it's just what has happened over the course of these 15 years has shown you never take a pennant for granted. You never take playing in the World Series for granted. And you don't let anybody try to tell you, well, you don't have to play this team. You don't have to play that. Bro, telling you, the Yankees would have been roasted to no end had they lost to the Kansas City Royals.
The last time the Yankees won it all.
You can't have it both ways. You can't kill the team and then say, oh,
right.
it was an easy path. Because I'm telling you, if the Yankees had lost to the Kansas City Royals, as much as now it's going to be a lock that Aaron Boone's the manager for the next 3 to 4 years, he's not coming back, pal. He's not the manager in 2025 if they lose to the Royals. It would have been that embarrassing. Even Hal and Brian Cashman would have been like, okay, we cannot bring this guy back off that. So let them move the goalpost, and we'll enjoy.
Fine by
Don't
me.
don't let anybody take this away from you, man, because time a lot has changed in everybody's lives, and there's some of you that are probably listening to this that don't even know what it's like to watch the Yankees win an American League championship. Don't know what it's like to see Yankee Stadium lit up in late October for a World Series. And who knows? It could be 15 years before it happens again.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The last time they won a World Series, dude, I wasn't even legal to drink. I wasn't even 21. I've gotten married, 3 kids, multiple jobs, 7 years of a podcast. How much life has changed, man. I say 2009 was the only year of my adult life that I got to experience, but I was 20 years old. I mean, maybe legally I'm an adult, but it's not you're not at 20 years old, you're still a stupid idiot kid. I mean, this is way different right now. And I'm sorry, I couldn't care less what anyone's saying. I literally couldn't. But let me tell you something, man. Watching these games with my son, growing up as a kid, you never sit there and go, man, watching this with my dad is the best. Like, of course you say that, but you don't realize how much more special it is for your dad than it is for you until you get older and you have a kid and he's sitting there watching every single pitch with you. I was emotional after the ALDS, dude. I don't know if the Yankees hang on here and win 2 more games. I don't know. And I'm not talking emotional like screaming and jumping because I'm going to. I'm talking emotional like I don't know if I can contain it, that I'll be able to say I watched the Yankees win a pennant with my son.
Kind of feel like you got to set up a camera if that day does come.
Don't do that, dude. That's
Christian doesn't want to watch it.
That's
I already told Jack. I have nope.
No,
not going to say it out
there
loud.
yet. We're not
Martinez
there yet.
strikes out with 2 on. Dodgers maintain a 2-0 lead headed into the 4th.
Bueller.
So Sal Licata was very positive that the Mets were going to destroy Walker Bueller today, and he's pitched out of a couple jams here.
Oh, you're telling me Licata's wrong about something?
But yeah. So just a couple of things about the game 1 here. The only thing I really want to talk about in game 1 is I want to know if everybody in the chat heard that on Monday night. If they heard that noise coming out of the Bronx. Because that was Carlos Rodon dropping his balls on the mound in Yankee Stadium.
My whole house shook.
Flop.
So you got to give him a lot of credit, man. And I don't know if you guys heard this. He called Andy Pettit.
Did he?
No,
to get some advice about how to kind of like control himself during these games.
Wow.
So it worked. He gave up 1 run over 6, 9 Ks. He was fantastic, man. You can't say enough about how good Carlos Rodon was in game 1. Really set the tone for the Yankees. And you know what? And this was a big debate on social media last night. We talked about it in the group chat. Did I want to stay away from Luke Weaver in game 2 up 4? Yes, I did. I wanted to stay away from him because you could see the adrenaline dump after he got out of that jam in the 8th inning. And he got through the 9th. But you just kind of wanted to give him a little bit of a breather here going into an off day. But at the same time, Boone's going to him at the first sign of trouble. Don't let him have to clean up somebody else's mess. Just let him go.
Yeah, and it was too close. If it's a 6-run game, then maybe you're taking the chance that it doesn't get sloppy and you won't have to use them. But with 4 runs, you're right. The second a runner gets on, Weaver's up and warming up anyway. Actually, before a runner even gets on.
Because you would have went to either Hamilton or Cousins in that spot. Neither one of them's pitched, so you don't really know what you're to expect out of either one of them. So Boone is going to have Weaver ready to go anyway. So
yeah,
I don't have a problem with it. Somebody was coming. This guy, these people just tweet the same thing to you over and over again, and it's like, well, now Cleveland got an extra look at Luke Weaver. So fucking what?
So what? You think they're not watching tape nonstop on this guy anyway.
So
I mean,
what?
shut up.
So what? They got an extra look at him. The Yankees
Good.
are going to win 4 games in a series. You don't think Luke Weaver's pitching in 4 of them?
Right. Idiots.
And I don't know if people. I just want to make this. I don't know if people remember this or not.
Mariano.
Unless it was like 10. Unless the Yankees were up by literally 10. Mariano Rivera pitched in every single game the Yankees had a lead in the postseason. Girardi and Torrey did not play any games. They had Mariano in the bullpen with a lead. He's coming in.
Because of the exact reason you just said. Any sign of trouble, you're going to him anyway. You might as well just not play games.
And you don't want to start fires in the postseason.
No.
Weaver's your best guy. You go to him.
And you have the off day. But I just want to touch on Rodon for a second. Rodon has a really unique opportunity. Carlos Rodon has been a guy that no one has really taken to since the contract.
Well, for good reason.
Yeah. And with a big contract like that comes, big responsibility and high expectation. And he's trending in a direction that he can be just one of those wasted Yankees, a guy who just never played to the back of his card, never lived up to the expectation. But if the Yankees continue to make a run here and Carlos Rodon gives me 1 or 2 more of those starts, he's in a unique situation where it doesn't matter what he does after that if the Yankees are hoisting up their 28th World Series trophy at that point.
Well,
because he'll go down as one of those guys that you just say worth every penny.
if the Yankees split these next 2 games, he'll be on the mound, Saturday with a chance to pitch the Yankees to the World Series.
So, I mean, my point made right there.
It hasn't been officially announced yet, but he's on regular rest for Game 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
No.
I really can't imagine the Yankees with how good this is where something's going to have to give here, because I believe Cleveland was the best home team in baseball this year, and we know the Yankees, I believe, they had the best road record in baseball, right?
It wasn't even close.
So something's going to give over these next 3 days here.
It's gonna be good baseball.
Yeah, best home record in the American League. Dodgers had the best home record in the entire league, but 50 and 30 at home were the Cleveland Guardians this year.
And that was the Yankees on the road, wasn't it?
The
They were
Yankees
close
on
to
the
that.
road were 50 and 31.
That's oh yeah, because Cleveland played 1 less game, didn't they? They only played 161 games.
Yeah,
I
they
believe.
did only play 161.
The last game MLB didn't make them play it because it had no implication.
So, I mean, I would say worst case scenario is Garrett Cole's on the mound Monday night with a chance to go to the World Series. Worst case scenario is Carlos Rodon is on the mound Saturday night with a chance to go to the World Series. And obviously, best case scenario is we wrap this shit up on Friday here.
Yeah.
The Yankees should not be seen. I don't want to get ahead of myself, man. I don't want to.
No. Let's not.
Look, we might be all getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Let's not.
Myself included.
Let's just say this. Clark Schmidt needs to take the ball tomorrow and do what makes him so valuable. And that's settle the noise a little, continue to just go out there and give us consistency. Give me 5-6 solid innings. Allow this offense to do what it's somehow been able to do and take a lead and just settle it down. Let's just stay calm. Here's one thing I'll say about the Yankees right now, and the Yankees, it just feels like, how you always say, act like you've been there? You know how Lindor friggin' hits a massive grand slam and then he just trots around the bases? That's kind of the Yankees right now for me. Just continue to calm the water. Continue to play the type of base. It's not really the type of baseball you'd expect. You expect this team to be better, but they're winning. Sometimes it doesn't matter. All that matters is winning in the postseason. That's it.
It's right in front of us.
Well, what Clark Schmidt really needs to do tomorrow more than anything, win, lose, or draw for the Yankees, is he's got to get deep into this game. The Yankees, for the first time in the postseason, can't be aggressive with the bullpen because it's the beginning of 3 straight days. And you know you're going to be in that bullpen on Friday for game 4 with Luis Heel. I would say, what do you think the Yankees are actually hoping out of Luis Heel? 3 innings to get into the 4th?
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think they can really expect or want much more out of him.
I don't think you go into it with any expectation. I think it's literally an inning by inning thing. It really is. I mean, it's inning by inning with him. That's the only way you can start him, and you got to have a game plan. Stroman's got to be ready to go. Not that that's, I'm talking if it's early on, that's really your only option. But I think it's inning by inning, and I think that you could be surprised. I mean, we're talking about a guy who is going to most likely win AL Rookie of the Year. We're talking about him like he's some fucking loser pushover. I mean, a lot of these guys don't benefit from time off, but Luis Heel has. He hasn't pitched in a while. Maybe he reset himself here. I'm not going to just write him off. I think the Yankees wouldn't be shocked if he gives them 6 strong innings.
I don't.
They also wouldn't be shocked if he gives them 2. I think you just have to take it inning by inning.
I think the Yankees in their wildest dreams are not anticipating to get 6
I didn't
innings.
say anticipate. I said they wouldn't be shocked.
I don't even think they're going to allow that to happen.
Probably not, because why let it?
Well, the thing with Heel is that he's shown when he's not himself early, so that's a good thing.
Right,
with him
early
being the
on.
guy,
And this
if
is
that
why
the case.
tomorrow is such an important game for the Yankees, because if they win tomorrow night, they win game 3, they're up 3-0 with Luis Heel on the mound. It changes how you have to manage that game.
True.
Because then you can let Luis Heel get banged around.
True.
And whatever, hopefully the kid's tough enough mentally where it's not going to destroy him.
I think he is.
But, he doesn't have it. You can say, listen, man, you don't have it. We're up 3-0. We got Rodon on the mound tomorrow. Somebody's got to eat.
Not that you throw in the towel, but
No.
you maybe don't waste some of your bigger guys in a game that you're down.
If the Yankees lose game 3, you have to have a quick hook with Luis Heel.
Correct.
Get him out of the game.
And that's where it comes. Sorry, Christian, I keep cutting you off tonight, man.
No, I'm just saying that's why game 3, you can say, oh, a must win. A must win is a game that if you don't win, your season is over. I get that, but it's a must win for the Yankees because of the unpredictability nature of Luis Heel and the fact that it changes your entire game plan for game 4. You can manage game 4 differently. And again, you never want to say throw in the towel on a postseason game. But if you're up 3-0 versus 2-1, you manage Luis Heel in that game completely differently, where now that's a house money game and you can put all your eggs in the basket of trying to win game 5, where if you lose game 3, you have to win game 4. Now you have to be aggressive with the bullpen where I might have burned Clay Holmes. I might have burned Tommy Kahnle, for a couple innings here where I'm a little short now in game 4. Whereas, okay, now I can go to Hamilton and Cousins and Tim May, maybe you dust off Tim Mays to sprinkle in a little Marcus Stroman. And if you lose, okay, you're still up 3-1 with a rested bullpen and Carlos Rodon on the mound in game 5.
Yeah, that's why it's pretty important, like you were saying before with Clark Schmidt, giving them some innings tomorrow. Because you don't even want to think about having to use Marcus Stroman tomorrow. You want to save Stroman for game 4 in case Heel
you want to
is
save him for April of 2025.
Yeah, I hear you. But he can get them innings if it is a short appearance for one of these next 2 starters.
That's why tomorrow, and I'm not gonna back off it. I know you disagree a little bit, but it's a must win for the Yankees, man, because it changes the way you can manage this entire rest of the season.
I bet. Look, if it comes, sorry, Christian, but let me just finish this point. If it comes down to that, I do think we will be able to look back on if they fall in this series, then it's going to be because of the results in this next game. So
you win game.
You're right in a lot of ways. No, I got nothing else to say. You're right in a lot of ways.
You win game 3. You be aggressive with your bullpen in game 3. You attack that game like it's you don't want you don't want to say game, but it's a must to me. It's as important as the game the Yankees have played in the postseason so far. You attack it, you be
Absolutely.
aggressive. Clark gives he starts to fall a little bit in the fourth. Get Holmes in there. Go to get your top guys in there. Go all out to win the game. And then, like I said, you're playing with a little bit of house money in game 4, where again, you don't throw in the towel. You try to win that game, but okay, you're obviously, if you're up by a run in the 9th inning, you go to Luke Weaver, but trailing, you don't force it. You don't force it. You get everybody rested and ready to go for game 5. And I mean, if I would have told you the Yankees were in a position to go to the World Series with Carlos Rodon and a rested bullpen in game 5 of the ALCS, everybody would have cut their arms open and signed for it in blood.
Yep.
So, I mean, other than that, this offense I want one big outburst out of this offense.
Yeah, but let me just stop you right there. That's kind of what I was talking about with Judge hitting the home run and Rizzo an inning or two before, whenever that was. I get what you're saying. Yes, they still need that. But I feel like, Christian, since those moments, we're not sitting here saying, when is it going to happen? I think it happened. I think the Yankees need to continue on from it. I don't think we're sitting here anymore. Like, this is what I meant by it changed the feel of the postseason when Judge hit that. Because of Rizzo also getting a big base hit and Verdugo came through. Yeah, that big error against Judge felt like, we were just getting lucky again. And you had all the pass balls and wild pitches the first game. But the Yankees offense really did come through yesterday. I don't think we can sit here and say like, oh, this offense needs that big. No, I think for a postseason game, we got that. We just need to continue on that trajectory here. I don't agree with Wells sitting, but if he is playing, yeah, maybe you do have to switch him and Stanton up. But other than that, I think this team is really starting to click on all cylinders, maybe outside of Jazz.
083 is 083, bro. I mean, and he didn't hit all of September either. So, I mean, if you're going to do it versus the lefty and see what happens.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I personally, it's not even about the off. It doesn't matter to me so much the offense as it does how great he's been behind the plate.
And
maybe
again,
he's a little banged up after that.
Right. As I said earlier in the show, man, that's a move you make when you're down 2-0 in the series. You're not
Right.
in a position where you need to get desperate here. But again, if we didn't say it earlier, Gleyber Torres, man,
Unreal.
292, 933 OPS in the postseason so far. I mean, are you really? I mean,
But dude, that 292 is playing to be a 400 right now.
If this thing goes the way we hope it goes, are you actually entertaining bringing him back?
Yes. Yep.
You have to entertain it for sure, because he's going to have to be a big part of it, because he's
always
been so far.
But he always has been a big postseason guy. This year, especially when his responsibility is greater than it's ever been, hitting in front of Soto and Judge. Like I said, that 292, because of his at bats, because of when he's setting the table, that 292 feels like 400 right now. I feel like every time I turn around, Gleyber Torres is coming through in a big spot. And don't forget, it was 200 before last night, I think, right? He had 3 hits last night.
Who?
Gleyber.
He was hitting like 250.
Yeah, he was 211, and now he's at 292.
Yeah,
career 283.
I get it. It's 6 games, so you have a 3-hit night, it'll jump you 80 points. But again,
my point is, it's playing higher than it actually is.
It's even 211. Like when you see that, it's like he's played better than that.
That 211 is the best 211 you'll ever see.
And Anthony Volpe,
that 211 was a 400 on base percentage.
Right.
As well.
And Volpe's hitting 278 in the postseason. I mean,
he's been great.
You can't say enough. You wanted this kid. This is what we all were saying. We wanted this kid. We wanted to see him in the postseason. We wanted to see him in the bright lights of October, and he's risen to the occasion.
For sure.
And if you don't know what Anthony Rizzo means at first base, watch Jazz Chisholm throw the ball last night.
Yeah, that one skip to Mylou there in the grass.
Watch how Josh Chisholm threw the ball to Anthony Volpe a couple of times last night. No, Anthony Rizzo, I'm sorry, knowing that Rizzo's going to make the play.
Mhm.
Yep.
And credit him, man. Come up with some key hits in it so far in this series. He's got to be in a lot of pain, dude. Those fingers are still broken. So
I personally feel when they took him out of that game late, if you go back to the ball that you thought maybe he'd make the play on and it kind of trickled through, I think he landed on those fingers pretty hard. And I think he was in excruciating pain. I think that's why they took him out. If you look at that play, the way he lays out for that ball and the way he lands on his hand, he had to have been in some crazy pain after that.
So, guy, you know what, man? That's what. Excuse me. Oh, it's what you got to respect about guys. A guy's toughness, man, and that's Rizzo wanted to be out there.
Yep.
And everybody's like, "Oh, it's just Judge forced his." But no, man,
No.
he didn't force any. He didn't force his buddy on the roster.
Because, dude,
you're seeing the impact Rizzo's making offensively and defensively. You want to get, and Birdie did a great job in the division series.
he
right?
really did.
He would have been my first baseman had Rizzo not made. But you want battle-tested guys in October, and Anthony Rizzo's one of those guys. And the other guy, man, you got to give a little bit of credit here to is Alex Verdugo, because nobody's talking about Jason Dominguez right now, because every time Alex Verdugo, he starts to piss you off, he hits a double and scores a run.
Look, the two guys
He's
that
chipping in.
the three of us talked about, the two guys who were really, really beyond disappointing this year were Volpe and Verdugo, but we both said,
And well, and Clay Holmes too, man. Those are the top three guys.
yeah, but as far as the three of us talking about it, we had said
Clay Holmes. I mean, we didn't spend more time on Clay Holmes than anybody.
no.
Yeah, but this isn't the point he's about to make.
I'm about to say that we said Verdugo and Volpe had that X factor that we felt could show up in the postseason. I don't think any of us thought Clay Holmes was going to show up like this.
No,
we knew
outlier.
We knew that he needed to, like, and look at how important he's been. But Verdugo and Volpe had that like feeling. So did Wells, and he hasn't shown up just yet offensively. But Verdugo and Volpe, I've always felt had what it takes to kind of be a big component in October, and they have been.
Well, and I was hoping Jazz would show up, and he hasn't. He's been look,
Very disappointing.
Oswaldo Cabrera's not starting at third base. I've seen that starting to pop. You just got to put that to bed right there.
No, could be, you're committed to Jazz as a big contributor going forward.
People are already talking about trading him in the offseason.
I don't know.
I got to tell you real quick, I know we're running long. Cutter Crawford's becoming one of my most hated.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Cutter Crawford is
I know who he is, but why?
No, is that are you going to say the guy's Twitter account because his name says Cutter in it?
Oh, okay.
He's just a Boston stan.
You're
okay.
You're
Come on,
dumb,
Chris.
bro.
That's like an
Sorry,
old man
bro.
getting scammed out of fucking
because fucking I love Elon, but he has
I'm getting
everyone
these
with
emails from these princes. They're in Nigeria.
because he's saying apparently they do boo bums with
I
Jazz.
don't think that's actually him. It's like a
Nah,
Cutter
it's not.
Crawford fan account.
Cutter is king.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, you're a loser if you
Come
have
on,
a
dude.
Cutter Crawford fucking stan account.
Well, you're a loser for falling for one.
Well,
Yeah,
it wasn't
Chris,
me.
go
it was
on.
Eric Hosmer, actually.
Oh yeah.
Eric
Hosmer's
Hosmer's
getting involved.
Hosmer's the one who was defending him and saying your team sucks pretty much, and his team's 2 wins away.
Maybe he knows and he's just attacking the fan.
Oh yeah, here it is.
I don't know.
So here we are now, getting ready for game 3 on Thursday afternoon. It's a 5 o'clock start. Excuse me. So 5:08 for game 3. Matthew Boyd against Clark Schmidt, and then game 4. The Guardians have not announced a starting pitcher. That's 8:08 on Friday against Luis Heel, and then 8:08 for game 5 on Saturday. Nobody's announced anything yet, but we'd expect Carlos Rodon to take the mound since he's on regular rest here. Does this series get back to New York?
No.
No.
It we're in trouble if it does. I'll tell you that.
I think you're at a point, and I don't want to keep going long. I'm fucking exhausted.
So be quiet and go away. I'll talk to Ryan.
So I
The
think
trauma of it all.
you're at a point where you just don't want to be uncomfortable. And I don't blame you, because it's been nice feeling a little more calm than we're used to. But you're talking like, no, if they go back to New York, as long as they're up 3-2, this team is still the heavy favorite to win the fucking pennant.
You want to play a game 7?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You're talking like it's doomsday. It's not. Relax a little.
I've watched enough of these series to see how
because
one
we're
game
so
tilts
look. I'm not trying to
everything.
fight you here. We're so fucking desperate. It's
Yeah.
been so long. You're right. I don't want to get there. All I'm saying is take a deep breath if it
The
does.
Guardians are not the Red Sox.
I'm
Okay,
not.
if they're up 3-0, the Yankees are bringing this shit
Oh,
home.
shit.
They better. They better. I had to explain to Jack this morning what happened in 2004.
That's why they have to win tomorrow. Then I'll start feeling a little bit more comfortable.
Deal.
And that would be, and this would be, if they do win tomorrow, it would be their first time since 2004 that they took a 3-0 lead
I'll-
in an ALCS. Their first since 2009 that they took a 2-games to none
But
lead.
you know what? I'll take history on the Yankee side in that time. That was the only time it's happened, and it'll probably be the only time it ever does happen.
But I just have one last thing to say, because these 15 years of this drought has been fucking terrible. But it feels really good to be able to watch this team right now, and they're clicking on all cylinders, and the path is there. You can finally see it. And it's just so refreshing to be able to watch this team. I know the games themselves have been stressful. Last night, Cole, having to work, it was stressful. I feel almost less stress watching them right now than I did the entire regular season.
True.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm watching a team that's going through some sort of phase here that it's finally clicked. After
Here's what it
15
is.
years, they're believing again.
Here's what it is, and this is the only way I can explain it.
Okay.
You show up to work and you're given a job to do that day. And you show up and you do the job and you go home.
I do my job.
And you do my job. That is what the Yankees are doing night in and night out. They're showing up to the field, and it's like they have a job to do. No matter how it gets done, they're doing it. And you're actually watching a team and just going, yeah, they won because they fucking better win.
Yeah, and they're the better team.
Yes, like this team might have been sloppy. They might have stressed you out, but man, if they don't win, they're not doing their job at all. And they have been winning. They're 5-1.
Yeah.
And with each win, with each time the Yankees hand over a lead to their bullpen, you are getting more and more confident in this team continuing to do their job. And that's really the best way I can describe it, where I'm watching a team who has a mission and they know they have a plan of attack, and they're executing it night in and night out.
Yeah, it's a solid plan
wanted-
and it's executed nicely. You're right.
So I'll end the show on this. You're talking about watching these games with your son, right? And we're driving home from my mother's house on Saturday, right? 2 days before the series was starting, and I had WFA on, and they were playing a promo for the game. And I told my wife, I said, I'm giving almost a decade of my life to this show. I just want to cover one World Series. If at the end, November 1st, it's all over, win or lose, and they told us that we were done here and closed the lights on this, at least we had one World Series, given almost a decade. And think about it, how long that is.
Yeah.
And we're 2 wins away from the NYYST podcast and NYY Underground getting to cover a New York Yankees World Series. You can't fall short now, man. And like you said, this is the first time you get to do it with your kid. My daughter's 4. She doesn't understand it like Jack does, obviously. But it was so awesome the other night. She's sitting next to me. Every time I clapped, she gave me one of these.
That's it.
So she knows it. You know, and it's just like the people that brought you here. Sometimes, you know, some of you may be like me, and you know they're not here with you anymore.
Yep.
And you think about why you're a fan of this team, and that you can't, and you just, I don't know how to say this, but it might sound so weird. Like all I want to do, and the cemetery is the worst fucking place in the world to go to. But on Sunday afternoon, I want to go there and tell my dad that they fucking did it. That's just what I want to do, man. I want to wake up my daughter in the middle of the night on Friday or Saturday and say, and just have that elation and have that joy. And the Yankees are 2 wins away from that. And don't let anybody tell you that you don't get to enjoy this. It's been 15 years, and this team is so close. And the next time that you hear our voices, I want to be telling you that the New York Yankees are the American League champions, that the New York Yankees are going to the fucking World Series.
Let's go.
I don't want to be previewing a game 6. And it's all, and Boone's been saying this for 7 goddamn years. It's all right in front of him. It's all right in front of the New York Yankees. 2 more wins, and we are in the World Series. Let's get it done. Let's go. So
Beautiful.
Thank you very much for being in the chat tonight. If you haven't done so already, like this video, subscribe to NYY Underground. Please subscribe to the NYYST podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And please, while you're there, if you wouldn't mind, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. Tell everybody that the NYYST podcast is the official Yankees podcast of Odyssey. We want to thank everybody for their love and support of NYY Underground and NYYST. We want to thank everybody for listening and watching episode 431 SGR.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. Bought a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I've been up next. Can't take calls, but I send that text from way downtown.